What's up, Frederators? It's been a while since the first part of our video series about Illumination Entertainment's hit franchise, where we introduced you into the world of the Minions. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Having spent so much time with Gru, a main character who's an adult, and with that a pretty rare sight to see in most animated children's movies, the studio decided to dial back a bit, about 40 years to be exact, to a time where the Minions had no one that they could truly call their master. This is where the two prequels come in, to tell us the story about how an entire race found its purpose in a world that is seemingly void of evil masterminds to serve. I'm Keegan with Channel Frederator, and here are 107 facts about the Minions and Minions: The Rise of Gru. Number 1. Director Pierre Coffin voiced all 899 Minions in this movie. Number 2. Minions is the first non-Disney or Pixar animated movie to take in $1 billion worldwide at the box office. Number 3. It is also the first of the franchise to earn $1 billion worldwide, followed by Despicable Me 3. Number 4. To be exact, it reached $1 billion worldwide in 49 days or 7 weeks. At the time, that was the fastest of any animated movie ever. However, in 2018, The Incredibles 2 topped that record, and if you were wondering, in only 46 days or about 6.6 weeks. Number 5. It's the only movie with a budget under $100 million to cross the $1 billion mark worldwide without being re-released. Number 6. Having been such a box office hit, it comes as no surprise that Minions is the highest grossing prequel worldwide, and the 4th highest grossing animated movie of all time, after The Lion King remake, Frozen, and The Incredibles 2. Number 7. This is the first Illumination movie featuring the Minions Kevin, Bob, and Stuart from Despicable Me 2 as protagonists. Number 8. The movie was first teased in the ending credits of Despicable Me 2, where 3 Minions are auditioning for this very movie. Although that audition features the same 3 Minions, their visual appearance has changed slightly to look more distinct. That's why Bob has one eye that's green and one is brown from this movie onward. Number 9. The leading 3 Minions, Kevin, Bob, and Stuart, were designed to resemble the 3 little girls from the Despicable Me movies, Margot, Agnes, and Edith. Number 10. Being the first prequel of the franchise, this movie shows how the Minions come across their iconic dungarees. Of course, since at the time of this movie they did not work for Gru yet, so they're missing his logo. Number 11. Some of the Minionese words are taken from Indonesian, such as Terima kasih, which means thank you, and Yang Mulia, which means your highness, among others. This is mainly because Pierre Coffin's mother is an Indonesian writer. Number 12. Minionese was partially inspired by the lingo of Salvatore, a character from the historical mystery movie The Name of the Rose from 1986, who is a deformed monk. Number 13. Kevin, Stuart, and Bob travel to Orlando, Florida for VillainCon. Orlando is currently home to the Universal Studios Florida theme park, which features a Despicable Me ride, in which guests are transformed into Minions, which we'll get back to later. Number 14. If VillainCon sounds familiar, it's because it shares similarities to Comic-Con, as evidenced by the fact that Scarlet Overkill's panel takes place in Hall H, which is commonly used for some of Comic-Con's biggest events. I've never been there, but visiting Comic-Con is definitely on my to-do list. There's so much you can do and so many people to meet. Number 15. Just like Gargamel from the Smurfs, who makes an appearance in front of the row where the Minions are sitting. Number 16. Before Scarlet's test starts to identify her henchmen, you can see Richard Nixon in the front row, preparing himself to take on her challenge before being pushed by the wrestler villain. Not sure if the crew just thought that including a US president as a fan of a villain was funny, or if they were trying to tell us something here. We'll leave this one up to you. But considering the Minion trio didn't consider him as their potential boss, he can't have been such a great villain, so we have nothing to fear here. Number 17. In the scene where you see Frankie Fishlips, you can see El Macho from Despicable Me 2 at the top right. Number 18. Professor Flux is named after the flux capacitor from the Back to the Future trilogy. The flux capacitor was what made time travel possible, while Professor Flux invented the first time machine, which he uses to collect future versions of himself and bring them back as his assistants. Despicable Me 3 also features a reference to the flux capacitor when Drew pulled out a similar mechanism when taking down the robot. Number 19. In Professor Flux's booth, one of the video displays in the background is a stylized version of the PDP-1 vector display, which was the first computer in the programmed data processor series, which consisted of various mini-computers. Number 20. During Scarlett's speech on stage, you can see Mr. Perkins from Despicable Me in the background, just off-center, wearing a red vest and black tie, doing a fist pump in the air. Number 21. During VillainCon, Dr. Nefario can be seen showing off his latest invention, the freeze ray gun, to a young Gru and his mother. Later, in the end credits, young Gru is shown using it against a dinosaur. Number 22. This is the only movie in the franchise that has voiceover narration. Number 23. The narrator states that there's a minion called Paul, but the minion is never identified officially throughout all of the franchise's movies so far. Number 24. Scarlet Overkill is voiced by Sandra Bullock, and it's her first villain role. Number 25. Bullock has openly expressed that she's a fan of the movie and even wore Minion-inspired shoes to the movie's premiere. Number 26. The carpet in the lab of Herb Overkill is the same as the carpet in the Overlook Hotel in the 1980 psychological horror movie The Shining, which is based on Stephen King's novel of the same name. Number 27. The movie is set in 1968, 42 years BG, meaning before Gru. Adding 42 years to 1968 gives 2010, the year Gru and the Minions made their debut in Despicable Me. Even though the timeline in Minions marks this as the time before Gru, a young Gru does make an appearance in the movie. It's likely that it refers to the point in time when the Minions started working under him, rather than referring to Gru's time of birth. Number 28. Did you know that there are 2 Minions named Kevin? The first ever named Kevin appeared in the original Despicable Me movie when Gru picked him out of the crowd. That Kevin was never to be seen again and was seemingly replaced by the new Kevin who was introduced in this movie and would have appearances in the subsequent entries of the franchise. Maybe giving 2 similar looking minions the same name wasn't a good idea, just saying. It's already difficult telling them apart from one another, and having 2 Kevins around does not make things any easier. Number 29. In the first trailer, a minion picks up a banana from under a rock, exclaiming, "C'est banana, yum yum." In French, that translates into, "It's a banana, yummy." Number 30. Kevin often uses the phrase "c'est par là," which could be interpreted as the French words "c'est par là," which means "it's that way," or as "c'est pas là," which does sound similar but would be translated as "it's not there." Number 31. The movie's trailer also contained an extended scene of Kevin getting hit in the groin by the elderly tower guard, showing that Kevin doesn't feel any pain from it, which either suggests a lack of genitalia among minions or a really high pain tolerance. Considering that the reproduction process of the minions is left up in the air, and that the survival of Kevin's tribe is more dependent on serving a master rather than on active procreation, it's safe to assume that the minions indeed do not have genitalia due to a lack of evolutionary need. Number 32. The entrance fees shown in the Tower of London are displayed in decimal currency, but England did not adopt a decimal currency until 1971. In 1968, the currency in England was pounds, shillings, and pence. Number 33. The butler from the palace is the same butler from Despicable Me 2. He can be seen serving tea at the Anti-Villain League to Agent Ramsbottom. Number 34. At the beginning of the movie, when the minions are climbing out of the water to become land-based creatures, the last one puts a pair of starfish on their chest. The narrator refers to him as Norbert and calls him an idiot. The term Norbert is old British slang for someone who is a few bricks shy of a load. Seems legit. Number 35. The alleyway that Kevin, Bob, and Stuart enter in New York City is the same alleyway that appears in the movie The Secret Life of Pets, which is another franchise of Illumination Entertainment and was directed by Chris Renaud, who co-directed the Despicable Me franchise movies. Number 36. When the minions are coming out of the sewer on Abbey Road, you see them come up right when the members of the Beatles cross the famous zebra crossing, which is the cover photo of their album Abbey Road. However, the Beatles are in a different order to the one shown on the album cover, as evidenced by the bare feet of Sir Paul McCartney, who appears second in the movie, but third in the actual album picture. Number 37. Among the collection of treasures, you can see a signed Jimi Hendrix guitar, signified by the playing of the song Purple Haze. The movie's trailer also features a song by Hendrix when it's shown how the minions arrive in New York City, the song called The Foxy Lady. The song can be interpreted as a hint towards the female villain of the movie, Scarlet Overkill. Number 38. The song Hair is sung in Mignonese by Stewart to mesmerize the guards with his hypno hat. This was the title song of the musical by the same name and was written by Galt McDermott. The musical, which was a celebration of hippie culture, debuted in 1968, the year the movie takes place in. Number 39. One of Scarlett's paint collections is Andy Warhol's Campbell's soup cans. There are 32 of these paintings. Each of them features a different flavor. The one Scarlett has in her collection is the tomato soup, which debuted in 1897 by the Campbell's Soup Company. The company is still making this soup. Warhol first exhibited these 32 paintings in 1962. Given the movie is set in 1968, it fits into the movie's timeline. These 32 paintings are now part of New York City's Museum of Modern Art's permanent collection. Number 40. After the minions left the mirror room, you can see a mannequin which resembles Lucy from Despicable Me 2. Number 41. The stained glass window in Westminster Cathedral features 3 priests resembling Kevin, Bob, and Stuart. A tall one and a short one, both with 2 eyes, and the third of medium height with his hand over one eye. Number 42. The crown in the Tower of London is guarded by several Beefeater guards. The guard leftmost of the crown looks exactly like the UK's Prime Minister at the time of the movie's launch, David Cameron. In case you're wondering why they're called Beefeaters, that's because the official title is way too long, and since King Henry VII employed the guards permanently to watch over the Tower of London, he made sure that his guards would get to eat as much beef as they wanted. We promise, we did not make this up. Number 43. The British royal crown, seen being worn by Bob during his coronation scene, can briefly be seen in Despicable Me, when the minions are all offering up treasures to help fund Gru's attempt to steal the moon. We love us some continuity. Number 44. When Bob delivers a speech at the end of his coronation, the music played is Edward Elgar's Pomp and Circumstance March No. 1 in D. This is one of the pieces used for Queen Elizabeth II's coronation in 1953. This piece is also the most popular music for graduation walking marches in the US. Number 45. The television at the department store where the minions set up camp for the night is a Dodgson, a nod to editor Claire Dodgson. Number 46. The 3 featured TV shows watched in the department store were The Saint, Bewitched, and The Dating Game. Number 47. The fire hydrant in London is a red American-styled one. Fire hydrants in the UK are covered by yellow drain covers marked with an H. Additionally, there is always a yellow sign with a large black H on a wall nearby, so the location is easily identified. Number 48. In New York City, the shop next to the record store bears the name R. Meledandri, a nod to director Chris Meledandri. Number 49. Stewart's haircut in this movie is different from his appearance in Despicable Me. Even minions need a change of style. Number 50. When the trio first arrive at Scarlet Overkill's castle, one makes fun of the romance by turning his back and wrapping his hands around his side so it appears he's kissing someone. This is a nod to the fake-out make-out trick used by James Bond in Diamonds Are Forever. Number 51. When Scarlet Overkill asks the minions if they know who Queen Elizabeth is, Kevin answers in Spanish, saying La Cucaracha, which means the cockroach. This is likely a nod to the fact that cockroaches are notoriously difficult to get rid of, and manage to survive for so long. And yeah, we're aware that this did not age well. Long live the Queen. Number 52. In a review by the late American movie critic Roger Ebert of Despicable Me 2, the phrase "therein lies the rub" is used in the first paragraph. 2 years later, the line is used in the opening scenes of this movie, describing the difficulty in keeping a boss. Number 53. When the minions come ashore in New York City, the ship in the background is the SS France, an ocean liner which was later purchased by Norwegian Cruise Lines and renamed the SS Norway. In its later life, following a boiler explosion, the SS Norway was scrapped off the coast of India. The SS France was first put into service in February 1962, so by the time of the movie, it had been in service for 6 years. Number 54. Like with Despicable Me 2, some cast members from previous movies in the franchise appear with a different role, which applies to Steve Coogan, who voices Professor Flux in this movie, and Silas Ramsbottom in the other movies in the franchise. Number 55. This is Illumination Entertainment's first movie in which a studio member is mentioned during the casting call of the main cast members outside the credits. In this case, director Pierre Coffin, who voiced the Minions. Number 56. This is also the first entry in the franchise to not have any characters voiced by Ken Jeong, who had a minor role in Despicable Me and later voiced Floyd Eagleson in Despicable Me 2. Number 57. The Minions' goggles change during the movie. After arriving in NYC, Stuart, Bob, and Kevin are given their shiny silver goggles from the Despicable Me movies, whereas the other Minions that arrive after the showdown with Scarlet still have the original gold-colored ones. In the last scene with the Queen, the rest of the Minions have all the new style goggles as well. Number 58. The Despicable Me theme is heard at least 3 times in the movie. When Kevin, Stuart, and Bob are hitchhiking to Orlando, at the end when young Gru appears, and when Kevin, Stuart, and Bob are breaking into the Tower of London. Number 59. In the trailer, the Minions had another boss, a knight who was killed because the Minions were mopping the floor and he slipped. This character doesn't appear in the final cut of the movie. Number 60. In anticipation of the movie's release, the company Pantone, known for its custom color system, announced its first ever character branded color, based on Illumination Entertainment's trademark Minions, which was dubbed as Minion Yellow. The idea for a customized color based on the Minions was pitched by singer Pharrell Williams, who helped in coming up with the music for the movie franchise. Number 61. Depending on the country the movie's shown in, the bulk of the Minions trek from Australia to differing countries, including at least India and Japan. Number 62. After the family robs the bank, the song that plays is I'm a Man by the Spencer Davis Group. This song also plays in one of the episodes in the last season of Mad Men, introducing the show's main character Don Draper, who was played by John Hamm. John Hamm voices Herb Overkill. Number 63. There are references to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's opera The Magic Flute scattered in the Minions' gibberish, in scenes associated with fire hydrants. Stuart calls the fire hydrant he falls for Papagena. In Mozart's opera, Papagena is the name of a female figure who is the love interest of a bird catcher named Papageno. The tune Kevin whistles later on when he releases the spray from underneath a fire hydrant resembles the first line of the aria, Der Vogelfänger bin ich ja, from the same opera, which is sung by Papageno. Number 64. During the Wolf bedtime story, the background music is Sergei Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf, Opus 67 Allegro. Number 65. When Stuart is presented with the guitar at the end of the movie, he plays the guitar solo of Van Halen's Eruption. Given the movie was set in 1968, while Eruption was released in 1978, this means that Stuart played this nearly 10 years before Van Halen. Stuart, you better secure your copyright for this song and get those royalties. Number 66. The song the Minions sing to the Yetis is Donald O'Connor's Make 'Em Laugh from Singin' in the Rain. Number 67. Minions was the last of its franchise to be produced at 1.85 to 1. Number 68. The news broadcast along with many TV shows that are shown in the movie are in color. However, in 1968, the only British TV channel in color was BBC 2, which didn't show news bulletins. The other 2 channels at the time, BBC 1 and ITV, didn't get color until 1969, a year after the movie's time. Number 69. There's a short musical scene after the credits where all the characters from the movie dance together until they're chased off by the T-Rex from the beginning of the movie. Number 70. A young Gru appears at the end of the movie. The Minions follow him and have a few escapades with him during the end credits, which serves as an introduction to the sequel, The Rise of Gru. Number 71. Due to production taking place during the COVID-19 pandemic, the movie was affected in various ways that would later change the course of events. Number 72. The movie was originally set to release in time for the franchise's 10th anniversary on July 3rd, 2020, to coincide with the release of the original Despicable Me movie on July 9th, 2010. After a series of pushbacks, the movie eventually received its final release date for July 1st, 2022, almost 2 full years past the originally planned release. Number 73. With that, it became the longest advertised animated movie in motion picture history, as well as Illumination's longest delayed movie ever, due to a nearly 2.5-year gap between its first trailer and its official release. Number 74. Because it was originally going to be released in July 2020, McDonald's had Happy Meal toys made for the movie in late June of 2020 through late July 2020, despite the movie not coming out till 2022. In addition, there were 50 different toys in the set, 2 of which were special gold minions. Number 75. Similarly, the LEGO Group released a line of sets based on the movie in 2020 before its release. Number 76. The Rise of Gru marks the first movie in the franchise not to be directed by Pierre Coffin. The movie was directed by Kyle Balda, who previously co-directed the Minions prequel and The Lorax, another movie by Illumination Entertainment. Number 77. The Rise of Gru was dedicated in memory of animator Madeline Montero, who died during production of the movie. Number 78. Young Gru has the same voice actor as his adult version. Both are spoken by Steve Carell, whose voice has been pitched in order to make him sound more youthful in the movie. Number 79. The Despicable Me trilogy features main antagonists who are male, those being Vector, El Macho, and Balthazar Brat. The prequels feature main female villains, Scarlet Overkill and Bell Bottom. Number 80. The original soundtrack contains cover versions of 1970s hits, while the movie features the actual versions by the real artists. For example, Goodbye My Love is performed by Phoebe Bridgers on the soundtrack, while in the movie it is performed by the Carpenters. Number 81. During Gru's escape from the Vicious Six, a pedestrian can be heard yelling, "Hey, I'm walking here." This is an homage to Dustin Hoffman's improv in the drama movie Midnight Cowboy, when a cab intruded on the filming and Hoffman improvised the famous line. Number 82. Gru goes into an ice cream shop and skips the line by spraying all the customers with his cheese ray, yelling "Cheese ray, cheese ray, cheese ray." This is a reference to the first Despicable Me movie in which he freezes all the customers at a coffee shop with his freeze ray, yelling "Freeze ray, freeze ray, freeze ray." This might be a hint that Gru likely kept the freeze ray that was first introduced to him by Dr. Nefario at VillainCon or modified it later on. Number 83. Teenagers belonging to Gen Z created a viral TikTok trend under the hashtag #GentleMinions by attending the movie en masse dressed up in suits. It was prevalent enough that several movie theaters had to ban the teens due to disruptions. Number 84. Sitting at a running time of 1 hour and 27 minutes, this is the shortest movie in the franchise, after Despicable Me 3 at 1 hour and 29 minutes. Number 85. The movie opens with a traditional James Bond opening credit sequence. Michelle Yeoh, who voices Master Chow, starred in the James Bond movie Tomorrow Never Dies. Number 86. The movie parodies the wuxia movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which also stars Michelle Yeoh. 87. The Rise of Gru is set in 1976, 8 years after the previous movie in the prequel series. This is made clear in the opening shot, which shows the number 1976 on a big sign. Number 88. When Gru enters the waiting room in the Vicious Six headquarters, one of the villains is reading a copy of Mad Magazine. The cover has an image of a poster congratulating Richard Nixon's presidential win. This particular magazine had 2 front covers, one on the front and one on the back. When flipped over, the back cover had the same scene but congratulating John F. Kennedy's presidential campaign. This was issue number 60, which came out in January 1961. At the time it was being prepared, the election was just about to take place, making the actual winner impossible to guess. Number 89. The beginning of the movie shows an ad for Jaws, which was first released in 1975, a year before the movie's events. Jaws was the movie that made director Kyle Balda want to become a filmmaker. Number 90. Gru's mother listens to Funky Town. Funky Town was also used in the Shrek series when Shrek was visiting the Queen. Both Gru's mother and the Queen from Shrek are played by Julie Andrews. Number 91. During the Easy Rider scene, as they walk up the freeway, one of the minions pulls faces at his reflection in the rear of a tanker trailer, copying Mac from Cars when he did the same thing. Number 92. In China, the movie received an alternate ending that retconned Wild Knuckles' death by replacing the scene of his funeral with a slideshow explaining that he was arrested for 20 years and later pursued a career in acting. Number 93. Stuart has a Scarlet Overkill lunchbox, the villain that the Minions worked for in the previous movie. Number 94. Universal spent a whopping $285 million on the movie's marketing, the biggest campaign for a Despicable Me movie to date. Number 95. If you ever visit Universal Studios, don't miss out on visiting the Minion Mayhem Motion Simulator, which features the movie's voice cast and invites attendees to join Gru and his fellow group of minions in their ranks. The ride attraction was the result of a collaboration between Illumination Entertainment and Universal Orlando, which entailed the creation of a new story around Gru and his minions with new animation for the ride. Number 96. According to director Kyle Balda, a majority of the movie was completed within the first 3 years of production, spanning idea to completion. In fact, production was nearly complete right before the pandemic hit. From then on, it was a waiting game that the team carried out for 2 years before their finished work could see the light of day, since Universal was intent on releasing the movie in theaters. Number 97. In celebration of the movie's release, Universal created an official reimagining of The Office and uploaded it to the series' official YouTube channel. Instead of the original cast, the opening features Gru in the role of Michael Scott, both played by Steve Carell, and his minions in CGI. Number 98. This is the first theatrically released animated movie of all time to confirm its BBFC age rating before the first trailer. Number 99. Prior to the premieres of Minions and Minions: The Rise of Gru, a tie-in junior novel based on each movie was released by the American publisher Little Brown. Number 100. If you want more of the Minions, look no further. The UK publisher Titan Comics has been releasing a series of various comics and graphic novels since 2015 that are based on the prequels. Number 101. Besides books and comics, the franchise has also sparked a bunch of video games featuring the Minions, including Minion Rush, which is an endless running game which shares similarities to Sega's mobile game Sonic Dash. Number 102. Among the franchise's series of video games, there is an interesting link to the aforementioned theme park simulator. The video game Despicable Me the Game comes in 3 versions, 2 of which are for the Wii and PlayStation home consoles. The Nintendo DS version, however, was released under the title Despicable Me the Game: Minion Mayhem. Number 103. The Minions also make another appearance at Universal Studios Beijing in its Minion Land area, which is a part of the resort's themed land series. The area offers various attractions and rides based on the movie franchise. Number 104. When it comes to sheer size though, Universal Studios Japan's Minions Park is ahead of the previously mentioned theme park attractions, and is reported to be the world's largest Minion area. Not only does it feature themed rides, but it also comes with Minions themed restaurants, various stores, as well as other fun and unique attractions for visitors of all ages. Number 105. Bob was immortalized through his footprints on the cement of Grauman's Chinese Theater, located on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. It's a funny image, especially if you consider that there was a real person inside the person who got to live the Minion fame. I think if I were in that costume, I would have just replaced the fake feet with my own, but that's certainly a way to leave your footprint. 106. In 2017, it was confirmed that a 4th Despicable Me movie is in development, which later received a release date for July 3rd, 2024. Number 107. Upon release, this will mark the franchise as Illumination Entertainment's first tetralogy. Did you enjoy our list? What fact do you think we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're there, like and subscribe to see more great videos every week. And remember, Frederator loves you.